You think lack of time or money or just life is stopping you from making art. If you're someone who once loved art but are now facing this strange distance with art, this might hit differently. What if I told you your nervous system is protecting you from your own art? You might say, wait, what? Protection from something which is supposed to be lovely and relaxing? What does protection has to do with art? Well, it has everything to do with reigniting that very passion which you once felt in your system and now are wrestling with. In this video, we are going to unpack why coming back to art feels harder than it should. What is really behind that "I don't have time" story? The invisible wounds even talented artists carry, and 3 practical ways you can use to gently reopen the doors to your inner artist. Let us reintroduce you to your powerful inner artist right away. Despite 2 world-class art degrees, despite being on the dean's list, despite the exhibitions, awards, and experience, I stopped making art. Not because I lost some kind of skills or confidence, but because something inside me broke. Here is something no one tells you about. External accomplishments are not going to protect your inner artist. Not from criticism, not from self-doubt, and certainly not from the slow erosion of self-belief. So the real question is, how do you rekindle art when the world or sometimes your own mind keeps you away from it? Hi, I am Parul, founder of Restart Art. I have a master's in fine art from Chelsea College of Art, London, and 10 years of creative industry experience. I help you to step into the artist you know you are, not by copying pretty stuff, but by rebuilding your creative muscles from inside out. But how do you do that if you're wondering why it feels so hard to return to art which you once loved? Let us peel back and see what is really going on. Let's unpack why your mind protects you from art. Let's say someone insulted you publicly in a meeting. From then on, that very room will trigger the memory of pain. The nature of pain is so. It latches on the neutral memories and forms a cluster to safeguard itself from future problem. It saves it as an information that, keep away from this. Now let us zoom out. Life throws at us grief, loss, pain of all kinds. If art has existed around these moments, the great painful moments, the brain associates pain and art together. Now, whenever you reach for art, the subconscious says, this is not right, this is not safe, stay away. It, alerts your system. And on conscious level, what we end up doing is, we scroll away, we postpone, we tidy the room. All of a sudden, we do everything and anything to stay away from art. We do it subconsciously. It's not your mistake. It's a sign that your inner artist is wounded. In the next section, let us dive into what really causes this pain and this wound. What really wounds the inner artist? Artists who once loved art but can't make art anymore, they face creative identity theft. In art world, we don't talk about it enough because a lot of attention goes into what's being created and very less attention goes towards the one who is creating those artworks. Most artists do not quit because they lack talent. They quit because someone else made them believe they had none. Art is invisible before it becomes visible, personal before it becomes public. It needs belief before it shows results. That is why a single careless comment like, "You're not an artist, leave it," can crush someone's creative spirit, especially in the early, fragile stages. I have seen this happen far too often to others and to myself. I'm just curious, have you ever been on the receiving end of such harsh comments? And if yes, how did you reclaim your creative voice? Let me know in the comments below. Now let us dive into the inner layers of the wound you and many other artists are silently carrying. There is a range of pains that can wound your inner artist, from full blown traumas to someone's careless comment that can stir doubt. On surface level, everything looks okay, but these wounds stay under the skin, and we quietly carry them, sometimes over the years. In my case, when I was facing this numbness towards art, I reflected about this wound in my journals. Let me share it with you so that you get the clear, full on picture of the heart of this issue. At the center of the artist's wound is shame. When shame visits an artist, especially in their budding stages, say childhood, in the form of mockery, wild claims like, "You call this art?" The pain caused by the shame mixes with the desire of a child to be accepted and loved, which trains their nervous system to associate art with being risky, shameful, unworthy, frivolous. So, in an environment which does not support art, the creative also stops pursuing art. And any revisit to art bubbles up the same uncomfortable feelings. This distance from art leads to an obvious lack of know how about how to make art. Now, even when someone gears up to make art, what comes out is messy, which leads to irritation, embarrassment, despite the desire to explore art. To add to the complexity, life keeps challenging us. Things like running a business, being young parents, having an elderly to take care of, or life situations, the list is endless. It keeps us genuinely busy and further prevents us from visiting art. If this is resonating with you, please take a moment to like this video and share it with someone who still loves art. And subscribe to Restart Art channel. I am on a mission to reignite that innate confidence of all those artists whose confidence has been once silenced by life, but are now yearning to rekindle their creativity. Alone, I can just reach a few people, but with your support, I can definitely serve many. So please let us together grow this rare and beautiful space. Thank you. Let me peel back another layer of this creative wound, the mind's trick, which says there is nothing wrong. I have to admit this is the cruelest part. The fog and the confusions that keep us away from art do not feel like pain at all. Rather, it feels like numbness. It all happens gradually. You stop considering yourself as an artist. You stop reaching out for colors and brushes, thinking it's just a phase. What lurks underneath is an unfinished story. A story which once began with a wound is now asking you to complete it. You deserve to complete that story in your way. Now let us look at how to reclaim that artistic power which you have. Reclaiming your artistic power. Talking from first-hand experience, thinking and trying to solve everything here does not work. I have tried for years. Does not work. What helped me though was this. Tease out the pain and question its validity. Let's say someone said, "You're not an artist. Artist should be XYZ." What you need to do is test their sentence. Ask, who told me I was not an artist? Question, are they qualified to define art for me? Discern, were they speaking from love or from their own limitations? If the answers feel off, it's time to revoke their authority. You do not need their permission. You have the right to practice your creative agency. Now, let me give you some practical ways of how you can get in touch with your inner artist. This is not about performance. It is about reunion. Try this. Write a heartfelt letter to your inner artist, the part of you that has been quietly waiting all these years. Tell them you see them now, that you are back. You can apologize or simply say, I won't leave your hand again. If you feel like making art at this point, go ahead. If not, do not force it. Art for artists is as natural as breathing. It's not an act to perform, it's a home to return to. The goal of this exercise is to renew your bond with your art. Just hold a clean space. And if you're like me, try creating a symbolic piece. Your inner artist, its strengths, its qualities, its dream. Then pause and feel. How many years have slipped by just because someone else got to interfere with your deepest relationship? Now is the good time to reclaim it. If this way of looking at art resonates with you, you would absolutely love my newsletters. It's where I share insights, art process, prompts, basically a perfect way to step into the artist you know you are. I will leave the link in the description box below. It's perfect time to start your relationship with art. And finally, I want to say God did not make a mistake in making you an artist. Look around. Not everyone is gifted in art as you are. That's why they cannot understand the gift you have, the potential you have. That's why the world can't hold that space for you in terms of creativity. But now you can. Things like lack of time, opportunities are not excuses, they are real. But here's a deeper truth for you. You don't make art because you have extra time. You make art to grow into the fuller you, so everything can be faced with that fuller heart. You take care of your job, your family, your business, but art takes care of the you behind all the responsibilities. Now it's your turn to give yourself the long awaited permission to be the artist you have always known yourself to be. Restart art. It's good for you.